Work at an airport that is haunted. After what I saw today, I'm quitting for good. Ever since I was a kid, I loved airplanes. My favorite one being where they collapsed into two large skyscrapers. So I decided to become an air traffic controller. Those people who talk to the pilots of planes to ensure safe landing. By the time I turned 27, I had passed all of the necessary tests and have accumulated enough experience to be hired and work without supervision. I found a job in a bumfuck little town in Iowa. It was literally a single landing strip in a cornfield, but I had to get this job since I'd been looking for one for over 6 months. Now, small airports like these usually only work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but this particular strip was in such a geographical location that there were a lot of flights going above us at any time, so we needed to stay open until 4 a.m. in case of emergency landing. By staying open, I mean I had to sit in the control tower, and there was one security guy sleeping in the airport's only terminal. About 3 months into my job, something started happening, something that I couldn't really explain. It was your regular winter night in Iowa. Winds and freezing cold, but no snow. I was supposed to work until close, although we didn't have any flights scheduled. Around 1 a.m. I received a radio message from a small airplane about 30 miles from the airport. They were having a really bad snowstorm and needed to land in my airport. I got my binoculars out, verified the visibility, and started guiding the aircraft. Though it was really windy out there, they managed to touch down. I looked through the binoculars to verify the landing went okay, and that's when I saw her for the first time. Just walking down the runway as if it were a normal street was this little girl. Now, there were about 100 things wrong with this situation. First, the girl was wearing some sort of short-sleeved nightgown, and she was barefoot. I noticed because I love looking at feet when I first meet someone, and then you had to wonder what in the world was this person doing, walking down the active runway, and how the hell did she get there to begin with? Flight 84, this is Alex from Air Traffic Control. Do you happen to see a woman walking down the runway towards you? I asked the pilot who had just landed. Let me check. The pilot answered. Still watching through binoculars, I saw him open the door of the plane, then get out. He started walking towards the woman. Not going to lie, at that point I was having a lot of fun. Then the pilot walked up to her, and I could tell that he was saying something. I saw her lean to his ear and whisper something to him. He just stood there for a good 10 seconds with neither of them moving. She was still leaning close to his ear. Then he snapped out of it, I guess, turned around, and literally sprinted to the plane. When I saw the propeller starting to rotate, I jumped on my radio. Flight 84. What is happening? Nothing. Then, the plane started moving, speeding up. Flight 84, you do not have permission to take off. I repeat, you are not cleared for takeoff. But there was no answer. That damn plane kept speeding up and then took off. Nothing I could do really, besides making sure that no other planes were above us at the time. I tried one more time. Flight 84, this is air traffic control. What the hell is happening? And then, my radio started making white noise. Ooh was all I could hear coming from the radio. Flight 84, please repeat, you're breaking up. Radio started transmitting again. Run. Flight 84, did you say run? Please repeat yourself, I said, but nothing else came out of the radio. The plane was long gone. I sank into my chair trying to decipher what just happened. Run? From what? What the hell? And then it dawned on me. The woman. I grabbed the binoculars. She was looking straight at me. Good 200 yards away at night, she was somehow looking straight at me, eyes open freakishly wide. At that moment, she started running towards my tower, like she was sprinting at me faster than Usain Bolt, still looking straight at me the entire time. Something about this situation, something about that pilot telling me to run, and this woman running towards me, something seemed so wrong. Joe, are you there? I blurted into the radio. Joe was our night security guard. He didn't answer, looked through the window, just in time to see the woman run into my tower. I heard the door downstairs slam open. I honestly didn't know what to do. This wasn't a rational situation, you know? If it were some sort of terrorist or whatever, I know what needs to be done since I'm racist like TSA agents. But this, it was certainly strange. And that exact weirdness, that not knowing what is happening, is what made me run into the bathroom and lock the doors. As I turned the lock, I heard the control room doors open. Then, a hard slam into the bathroom door had me nearly fall on the floor. And then, nothing. Silence. I could lie and pretend I was brave enough to get out of that bathroom soon after, but I wasn't. I'll admit it. I stayed there the whole night, waiting for the morning shift. Around 7:45, I heard a familiar voice say, "What in the fuck?" It was Clark, the morning shift controller. I opened the door to see a scene so twisted that even to this day, I remember every detail. The control room was nearly totaled. Radios ripped out, papers and manuscripts everywhere, radar screens smashed to pieces. When the police came, I gave the full report. It took 11 days to repair all the equipment and get the room fully functional. The security guard on duty that night was fired. They even started considering installing security cameras. I know today, that seems like a normal thing to you, but it wasn't back in the day. Police had no idea what to make of it. I used the 11-day break to sort myself out. I came back to work on March 4th. I was a bit worried about working nights again, but I was convinced that whoever did this was far gone. Then around 11 p.m. that night, during a massive snowstorm, I received a radio message from a small private jet that was 50 miles away. They were getting caught in heavy winds and the pilots wanted to land on our airport immediately. Now, jets like that would traditionally be too big to land at our strip, but the emergency like this called for overriding of guidelines. Flight 676, you are cleared to land, but we have to remain in contact at all times. This strip's pretty short, do you acknowledge? I said. Sure thing, let's just put this puppy down, the pilot said. And out of nowhere, just when I forgot about her, she appeared. She was just slowly strolling down the strip, about 100 yards away from the tower. Her bare feet slowly moved across the snowing asphalt. The worst part about it, she was looking directly at me again with those crazy wide open eyes. This is when I realized what the most disturbing thing about her was. She never blinked. I was looking at her for a good 2 minutes. Winds and snow blasting in her face, and she never closed her eyes. What the fuck? I then said over the radio, Flight 676, maintain. I repeat, maintain the altitude until further communication. Traffic control, this is 676. That is a negative. We cannot maintain with headwinds like this. We have to land. Are we clear? We are 6 minutes away. I couldn't risk the lives of people up in that plane. I had to land them. Despite this, whatever this was, walking down the runway. Cleared to land 676. I put down the radio and looked through the window. She was now 10 yards away, coming closer to the tower. Though I shouldn't under any circumstances leave the control room, I ran down to the first floor and locked the outside door. I knew she was close, and I knew she was coming. When I got back to the room, I heard the radio. Control tower, we are approaching the runway. Please advise. I looked up through the window and could see the plane in the distance. There was no trace of the woman on the runway. I sighed, a breath of relief. I was going to deal with this issue after the jet had safely landed. At that moment, a loud noise broke through the tower. I didn't want to believe it, but I was afraid that the first floor door had slammed open. How the hell? I locked it. I know I did. And then, goosebumps overcame me again, almost as if my body could feel something that I couldn't. My first instinct was to lock myself in the bathroom again, but I couldn't leave the radio. Footsteps on the metal stairs were getting louder. I heard the control room doors open. The radio spoke again. Run, run, run. What the fuck is he talking about? Then I felt a cold breath on my neck. She was behind me, breathing slowly into my neck. I could feel the lips move up to my ear, though I couldn't even see her with the corner of my eye. I was still paralyzed. Then she whispered into my ear,
"Come down to the cornfield. I want to play."